Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of Crisis of Infinite Podcasts. And today our topic is going to be about the Nickelodeon series of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that aired back in 2012 and ended just this year. And I happen to be the giant rat that makes all the rules, and that's a joke for Anthony. He's probably not going to watch this. All right. And I want to get started on the people who are here today. My first guest, you may know him from a recent turtle-related podcast of one that shall not be named. And go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, Nathaniel. Nice to be back here again, Mark.
All right, you too. And my next guest.
Shadow, just Bry. Hey.
And my final guest.
Me, Chris, second time again.
Yeah, this is his second time here. You may remember him from my first episode. And so what I got here on the bracket is how exactly we got into TMNT, but apparently...
it's like, we all know that it is. Yeah, it's the same. It's 87 for everybody.
Yeah. But believe it or not, I think there's like one or two people who haven't grown up on that series, so I would have been...
Well,
I have seen a couple episodes of that series, but I never committed to watching it. But I watched the 1990 movie religiously.
Oh yeah, same here. We all did. We all did.
Because those were the movies that made you think they're real.
Yep. So since we're not going to talk about how we got into it, what about our personal experience? Like growing up with it, since it kind of had a huge cultural impact back then, kind of like how Transformers was popular in the 80s and this was popular in the 90s, and then Pokemon became really popular, as did Power Rangers and so on.
I was a huge turtle head back in the day. I had the figures, I had the play sets, I had the vehicles, I had clothes, everything in my room when I was a kid was turtles. And I wore all kinds of turtle shirts. And what's interesting is a couple of years ago, I went back to look up old episodes. I can't remember what it was for. I was researching something. And I realized that I actually gave up on the series fairly early around season 4 or so. And I was kind of like, wow, I thought I stayed with it the whole time. But then I realized, oh, wait, no, Power Rangers came along and I dumped the Turtles like a hot date.
Well, at least they both reunited together in, 98 for one episode one episode only.
And it was the best episode of any Power Rangers or any Turtles series ever. It will never be beaten.
You say that in jest, right?
Hopefully.
No, I'm completely serious.
Oh, boy.
So, with my personal experience growing up with the Turtles, I saw the 87 cartoon, and then, when I saw the 90 movies, I was blown away as a kid, because, I actually thought that this was for real. And, when Shredder came on screen, I was actually scared, because this Shredder was just terrifying, and I thought to myself, oh man, imagine if Crane was in this movie, I'd be even more scared.
That movie was an indie movie, you know.
Yeah, it was the most highest grossing independent film of its time, and then Blair Witch Project happened.
Ouch.
Yeah, and
they'd probably still be pretty high on the list if you grossed for inflation, though. I mean, Blair Witch would be higher, but for a Turtles movie, second highest grossing indie, that's still pretty dang good.
Yeah. And then for the second movie, Secret of the Ooze, when Toka and Razor came up, I actually thought that was Bebop and Rocksteady as a kid, but I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't look like them.
I think that was pretty generic for most kids.
Well, I mean, what kind of makes it even funnier is that when you look at the box office for the first Turtles movie, and I know I'm going a bit off track, it did better than the first Power Rangers movie when it came out during the Power Rangers heyday.
Yeah, but that's not hard, sadly.
Sadly. That's true. But I think that speaks to the difference that Power Rangers was just trying to be an episode of the movie was just trying to be an episode of the TV series, whereas the Turtles movie was actually trying to be something for an older audience.
Yeah. Was actually trying to be...
It was trying to be something that parents wouldn't mind coming back for.
Yeah. And speaking of parents, I can't imagine the number of eye rolls our parents must have had when we sat down and watched either the movies or the TV show.
Yep.
Just by the name of the title. Just think of it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I mean, like,
It sounds-
what kind of drugs were those people on to create a concept like that?
It sounds like a Mad Lib. It literally sounds like a Mad Lib.
Okay, we need a leader who is a blank. Rat.
All right. Anyways, well, my personal experience, like I said, I also had like one of the episodes on VHS, and I kind of watched that religiously as well. It was the Case of the Killer Pizzas, and it had the other episode where Baxter Stockman turns into the Fly.
If I remember correctly, the first 5 episodes that were on VHS were in some way
Messed up?
Messed up. Like,
Yeah!
the order was messed up.
Oh, I thought you meant like the way how it was filmed, because like it got all like staticky.
No,
Well, no, that was
the
just-
episodes were
They were in the wrong
disorganized.
order.
Oh yeah, they were.
They were not chronological.
Yeah. All right, I think we kind of talked enough about our personal experience, so let's get back to like the actual series that we're talking about, like the current series, which ended.
Could we before that, can we just say, screw Turtles in Time?
You mean the video game?
No.
Oh, you mean Turtles Forever?
3.
Oh, 3, yeah, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the live act. Okay, yeah, that one was bad.
Yep.
Probably the only
Well,
positive I'd say for me
One of my
was
nieces
Japan.
loves that movie.
How
And
do you
I'm
make
like,
them look
you'll-
less real?
Yeah.
No.
One of
How
my
do- no, better. How do you make the cartoon look more real?
Accomplishment.
All right. So, all right. Now we're going to talk about the series review, opinions, thoughts, and how it compares to the other series.
Well, I think let's start with where we would rank it in comparison to the other series, including like just movie and kind of interpretations, and then kind of go down the show and why we would rank it that low or high.
Well, like I said, I didn't watch the original cartoon religiously, and I paid no attention to the one that came out in 2003, so this is more of a question for you guys.
All right, I would rank this as probably the best show,
Oh, yeah.
but I would rank it in
yes.
terms of Turtle media altogether below the IDW comic.
Well, I haven't read much of the IDW comic.
Well, for anybody who is listening to this podcast and likes Turtles, the IDW comic is amazing. Go pick up at least one trade. It is really good. Or just see if you can find an issue online and read through that and see if you want to pick it up.
The only IDW comics I read that were based on the Turtles is when they crossed over with Batman.
Oh, yeah, that was they based that on the 90s animated Batman and the new 2012 Turtles.
No, not that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The actual crossover.
Okay, well, that is using the IDW comic Turtles.
I mean,
So if you enjoy that, it has pretty much around that same level of quality.
All right. Let's see. So I would say that, yeah, TV-wise, it's up there. Like, it's number one because it borrows just so much lore from, like, the past.
I also partially rank it as the best simply because if we're looking at it as a whole, the 2003, when it got to, what was it, like season 5 or so?
Yeah, like, fast forward.
No, even before that. Wasn't the dragon thing before that? Was that after?
I'm pretty sure the dragon thing came after. Like, they said there were the lost episodes.
Okay, well, either way, eventually the 2003 cartoon kind of fell off a cliff.
uh-huh.
Yeah, because, like, I don't think I really had a chance to watch the whole 2003 series because, like I said, I skipped fast forward and I didn't see, what was it, Back to the Sewers? Because they really changed the animation for Back to the Sewers because, like, they made the Turtles look more anime-like. And another reason why I couldn't...
Mikey-san is so kawaii!
Another reason why I didn't really watch the 03 series, because, like, I was in high school and, like, I was busy with being on the wrestling team, so, yeah, I had a life.
You're a nerd. You're not allowed to have a life.
I did watch all of 2003 that I remember, but it's been long enough, so I've more or less forgotten it. In fact, I actually rewatched amounts of Turtles Forever yesterday to get reminded, and yeah, there's a lot I had forgotten.
Yeah.
Let's see. So
I mean, well, so let's kind of just go down the seasons from season 1 to 5. Okay, so season 1 was, introduction. It was all about the crank. Here's an interesting thing. I think that as the show went on, in some ways it got better, but in some ways it also got worse.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because I think the way in which it got worse is... Well, the way in which it got better is it became more about a thorough plot line. Like, by the time he got to season 5, there was this very obvious overarching plot line, this very strong plot line, because season 5 was all about the new, Shredder coming back and mutating, and that was a very strong plot line throughout the show. Season 1, it was a bit more episode to episode, and you had the Krang plot going throughout that season, but it was a lot more episodic and a lot more like the 87 Turtles. The reason why I say that the later seasons are a bit worse is because the plot lines going through them got so strong, the episodic episodes stuck out. Like, a good example is, I think season 4, is that the one where Karai is turned into a snake?
I think that's either season...
Maybe
I think it's
3
season
or
3.
4.
I think it's 3.
No, season 3 is the woods.
Oh, so it's like near the end of season 2.
Wait, how many seasons were there? 5 or 6?
5.
Oh yeah, season 4 was they were in space, right?
Oh yeah. Okay, so it's season 2.
Yeah.
Well, like a good example is no, it might have been season 5. Well, either way, the season where Karai was turned into a snake, there would be points where they're looking for Karai, where an episode ends, we got to find Karai. And then you get like 5 episodes of filler before it goes back to looking for Karai. So you have this main plot, but the filler episodes ended up becoming much more obvious because of that, because it would just be like, we got to do this super important thing. Okay, 5 episodes of filler, and then back to the plot.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't really mind that, actually.
I didn't mind that. I just think it became more obvious, whereas in season 1, because the main plot was a little bit less in the forefront, the episodic nature didn't stick out as much.
Also, when I heard about this new series, I was kind of reluctant to watch it because I felt like, okay, Nickelodeon's making it, and I'm like, how do I know this isn't going to be like more comedy based, like the 87 Turtles?
That was my concern too.
Yeah, because I thought it was probably going to be like what Sonic Boom was.
Oh Lord!
Actually, Sonic Boom became not too bad.
But boy, did this show prove me wrong.
In a good way.
Well, my big worry for the show was the animation in terms of fight scenes, because they were doing 3D models, and yeah, we've come a long way from the 90s, but it's still hard to make 3D model fight scenes look as good as 2D animated ones, even 2D Flash ones.
Another thing that kind of had me worried was like some of the characters, like they made April a teenager, they made the Turtles like have like different futures. I mean, like
this is a type of series where they took liberties in the creative department, and
I think
thankfully most of those creative liberties
actually worked.
Were big payoffs.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, here's something that wasn't a payoff. April's psychic powers. Nothing really came of that. Like, she used him every once in a while, but I don't know. I felt like it was leading up to something much bigger than what we got.
Yeah, like I thought it was going to be like the Dark Phoenix saga in X-Men comics.
Yeah, at most.
For an episode, it almost turned out that way.
Yeah,
and I really loved that. I don't mind her psychic. I don't mind her psychic powers in this.
I don't mind the psychic powers, but I felt like they were building it up to be this big thing, and then at most we got one episode where she kind of loses control just a little bit, and it's just like, come on, guys, there's so much more you can do with this.
Just a little bit. Oh no, wait! I don't want to spoil what she did.
We'll get.
This is something you guys have to see and watch for yourselves, because
Well, I mean, there might be some spoilers if we discuss our favorite episodes, but anyways, this is kind of a spoiler. Like, I thought April, like they mentioned that she was part crane. I thought she was going to be like a neutrino. That
would have been interesting. I think that's what a lot of people thought.
Well, they did introduce the neutrinos, but They were like these microscopic creatures that looked like Dormammu's mindless ones from the Doctor Strange comics.
Which just makes the relationship between Mikey and the female neutrino from the 87 Turtles make you go, well, how the heck's that going to work?
Well, that's why they made that other character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Renette?
Yeah.
I think she's from the comics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's
She
from
is.
the original comics.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so we were talking about season 1, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about, I guess, season 2.
Season 2 is honestly the one that I remember that's kind of the vaguest for me. What was the big plot of season 2? I forget.
Wasn't it the crane?
The Krang coming back in force.
Yeah.
And aligning themselves with the Shredder.
Oh, yeah. It was that, and it was also the mutagen getting spilled all over town.
Yeah.
Correct?
That was at the
so.
end of that was at the end of season 2. Oh, no, wait.
No, that was the beginning.
No, that was the beginning.
Yeah, that was the
All the
beginning.
mutagen canisters.
Yeah.
And they introduced a lot more
Mutants.
mutants,
Yeah, so
both bad and good.
Yeah,
like
season 2
Muckman and
Slash.
and
Season 2 became
Pizza
a lot.
Face.
Season 2 became a lot like the 87 Turtles. I would say it was the most like it because you just had episode after episode of introducing these characters from the 87 show.
And they introduced Casey Jones.
Yep.
Speaking of which,
Yep.
did they ever fix Pulverizer?
Oh, that
No.
guy, Mutagen Man?
No, they
I
did
don't
not.
think they did not.
They did not.
They didn't.
That sucks. That poor guy.
He's still frozen. You can see him in the lab.
I find that hilarious then.
I find that hilarious and sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That poor guy.
Well, it's like, we're going to start this plot line about Donnie trying to save this friend of his, and then we're just going to not do anything with it.
Unless the idea was he never could succeed.
Oh, that would
be interesting.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Season 3. Oh, that's when shit goes crazy.
Yeah.
Season 3 was honestly the weakest because most of that season
What about the finale?
The
the finale was
no,
the strongest
yeah,
was the strongest I'd seen.
The finale
up to that
was
point.
awesome, but a lot of the episodes were really weak because the entire season was them at the farmhouse.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no, not the entire season, just half of it.
Really? I thought it was the entire season.
It was half of it.
Oh, okay. Either way,
Because then when they get back, they find that Shredder has messed with Karai's mind,
Okay. Yeah.
and they end up freeing her, and then there's the whole incident with the Triceratons
Yeah.
and Crank trying to come back, and
Either
they were
way,
like, "Oh shit, the Triceratons!"
Either way, I do feel that the first half of the third season is pretty weak simply because of how long they're at the farmhouse.
Yeah.
I actually like that. It gave
I don't mind them being at the farmhouse for a couple episodes and showing them winding down and recovering and all that, but I do think it went on for a few episodes too long.
Well, I think it's also. Well, I think the amount of time we saw them at the farmhouse is believable because they just came out from a grueling defeat. Leonardo is almost practically crippled.
Yeah, and like his voice changes.
I do like that. That was a good way to.
That was a great
have
way
a
to explain
legitimate
it.
Excuse.
Yeah, because I think the original voice actor, he was like no longer interested in it, but I did
No,
hear.
it was parents complained.
Oh yeah, but he also
Why?
made like an offensive tweet about a political figure, and like Nickelodeon got on his case on it because he's under contract.
Basically, the original voice of Leonardo was the main character from American Pie,
Yeah.
and parents were all up in arms of, one of the turtles on this kid-friendly show is from this adult comedy raunchy movie, and it's just like,
And they thought
really?
Seth Green would be a better choice.
Yeah, the creator
really?
of Robot Chicken with all the other raunchy shit that's on there,
Yeah. Sometimes parents can be stupid.
as well as the voice of Chris from Family Guy, a show that's like almost like completely anti-PC.
Well, he was the voice of Joker in Mass Effect, so maybe parents who played the games were like, you know what? Okay, let's try it.
Parents who played the
parents
games.
played the
Yeah.
games,
Or
yeah.
more specifically, parents who played the games who complained. Anyone who played the games probably didn't complain.
All right, and season 4 was all in space, and all I can say is that it was better than Fast Forward.
Yeah.
I liked the space episodes. The Fugitoid was fun. He was voiced by David Tennant. Come on.
That was great that they got David Tennant to do the voice.
One thing about this series in general is that they pull off a lot of strings to get a lot of famous actors.
Oh yeah, like
to
Gilbert
get on
Gottfried
there.
as
Gilbert
Crane
Gottfried.
Subprime, Ron Perlman as Armagon.
That's actually one
Lewis
thing.
Black as Spider-Bite.
Oh yeah,
That's one thing we.
Roseanne Parr.
Roseanne Parr as Crane Prime.
That's
That
one
still
thing.
boggles my mind, man.
That's one thing I think we should discuss is
Peter Stormare as Lord Dredge.
Wait, I don't think that was Peter Stormare.
I looked at the credits. That's Peter Stormare, man.
Wait, I thought it was someone else, but I know that
You might have thought it was Peter Combs. He was the Rat King.
I can't remember his name. I'm pretty sure the Rat King and Dreg were voiced by the same guy.
No, it wasn't. I looked at the credits.
That's weird.
I looked at the credits.
'Cause, I
like
know-
when I heard Lord Dredge speak, I'm like, oh, they got Jeffrey Combs to voice.
Yeah,
Rat
Jeffrey
King.
Combs.
They got Jeffrey Combs to voice Rat King and Lord Dredge. Nope, that was Peter Stormare.
Oh, I
Credits
thought it
tell
was
all.
Jeffrey Combs.
actually, Mark. I think you were right about it being 6 seasons because season 4 was space, season 5 was Shredder being a super mutant.
No,
And then-
it was 5 seasons.
Doesn't someone have a smartphone they can check or something?
Yeah,
I sat through it all. It's 5 seasons.
I guess it was the first half of season 5 was the super Shredder thing, okay.
And then the rest was
Season 5 was interesting because they revolved around overarching tales.
Yeah.
Hence why the season 5
Tales
is
of
called
TMNT.
exactly.
One thing I think is interesting is just the amount of old voices that they got back for this.
Yeah.
At
Exactly.
various times.
Like I was shocked that they got the original voice actress for April O'Neil to be April's mother.
That was amazing, and it was also something that I found a little sad because they didn't get her back for the big finale. I figured they would have at least
I know.
gotten her back for at least a little bit for that.
I know. That's disappointing.
Yeah.
If you guys are listening to this, I'm sorry for that big spoiler. Just watch
Well,
it
I mean,
before you listen to this.
Well, yeah, but I mean, everybody saw like the trailers and knew that they got old voice actors back. We're just saying, hey, this is one they didn't get
And one
back.
of those old voice actors is a current voice actor.
Yeah, Rob
Yeah.
Paulson.
Do you think he gets 2 paychecks for that?
All right, so how many seasons was it?
5.
Yeah, 5.
All right.
Called it.
Okay. All right, let's see. So
Really check regardless.
we already talked about we basically talked about the series review, our opinions, our thoughts, and how it compares to other series, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, what would you say was your favorite season? out of
Oh,
all
well,
of
I
them?
was going to say favorite episodes.
Well, let's do.
yeah, I
favorite
can't pick a
season.
favorite season.
Well, let's do favorite season and then favorite episode.
Well, I would say oh man. I did like season 3, like the finale. That's gonna be maybe my number 1 episode. I mean probably season 5, the final season. And I did like the first season. I also liked the second season because I don't know. I really can't pick a season.
Neither can I.
I would say probably season 4. Because season 4 had a lot of interesting stuff, and it had a very interesting ending with the whole them versus Shredder like that. I think that was one of the best endings.
Don't spoil what happens before that. Just
Well, I mean, aren't we supposed to assume that everybody's already seen the entire show if they're watching this? I feel like spoilers is kind of going to hinder this.
Yeah, because we did put spoilers for a past podcasts.
yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
All those internet jokes of spoilers for the Star Wars movie, the original ones. What, you haven't watched it yet?
I still need to catch up on episodes 2, 3, and 7.
Spoiler, Darth Vader is Luke's father.
All right, so let's discuss favorite episodes.
For me, that's easy. My favorite episode is the ending of season 4. That big fight with Shredder and all his men.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. For me, it's in season 5, and it involves our favorite sword-swinging samurai rabbit.
Sagi Yojimbo. Yeah, that was a good one. I
loved all 3 of those episodes.
I also liked the Mutant Apocalypse episode.
The Mutant Apocalypse episodes were just pure fun.
Yeah.
The Mutant Apocalypse...
And depressing for some reason.
The Mutant Apocalypse episodes are one of those things that I wish not just Turtles, but other series would do more, because you rarely see something like that outside of comic books.
Yeah.
You rarely see that outside of Mad Max. Basically, what you're trying to say is that every single cartoon should have a Mad Max dedicated episode.
No. What I'm saying is, I really like this idea of taking the Turtles and combining it with something else, and still keeping it Turtles while being that other thing. And I would love to see that applied to more stuff. Like comics does that all the time. You've got like steampunk Batman, or Batman as a vampire hunter, or
steampunk Batman. That would be. Criminy. I forgot the name of the story.
Batman by Gaslight.
That one.
Or Spider-Man Noir.
Yeah.
Like, you see that a lot in comics, but you rarely see that with other shows, and I would love to see other shows embrace and do that kind of thing, where even if it's only for a few episodes, or even just one episode, do this idea of, we're going to do something really interesting with this established franchise, but we're still going to keep all the characters how they would be if they were in this different style of universe.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Like, another example is the one episode where they did in the 03 series where Donnie went in the future, and it was almost a bit like...
taken over by the Shredder.
Yeah, and it was a little bit like Terminator to a degree.
Well, there was a 2D animated special on Nickelodeon, remember?
The chibi thing?
Yeah. I didn't watch that.
I did. It was for its target audience is kids. For what it was fun. It was cute.
Well, yeah,
and at the end they did go back to the present, but it's taken over by the Shredder.
Well, but the thing is that
would have been a good episode. If it was main canon.
The thing is, that's something that that's more likely to actually happen in the show.
But we also have to keep in mind
I'm talking about these kind of things where, because of the way the series is built, you're probably never going to see this interpretation of these characters.
You're also forgetting the most important factor about the Ninja Turtle series in general, is that it's created to sell toys.
Yeah.
That's the same. That's the same thing can be said with G.I. Joe, Transformers, My Little Pony,
He-Man.
Barbie. What else? Hot Wheels.
Is Barbie even relevant anymore?
She's still here.
Much.
She
exists.
She's still around, but she's kind of like Mickey Mouse, where everybody knows her, but when was the last time you saw her do anything?
When she sued Bratz. Look, if you don't believe me, you can look it up later.
He's not lying. I remember hearing
Well, there is definitely that 3D
I'm
cartoon.
so glad somebody knows.
All right. So let's see. I don't know which season this was. I think it might have been season 2 or 3. I don't know if it was like the turtle van or the turtle blimp that they had. But like, you know how like in World War II they would have like a picture of a female and it would have their name.
It was the band with
and
Mona Lisa.
No. Venus. Yeah. I'm surprised they actually mentioned that.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
They had Venus de Milo was a picture on the van?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have to go back and look at that, because all the while I'm thinking, because I was like, oh man, I wish they had like acknowledged Venus de Milo, like have her appear in like one episode and be done with it.
Raph drew a sexy female turtle on the side of the van, like World War II pilots would do to their planes, and it said Venus.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Oh my god, I need to go back and see that. You know what? I'm rewatching it with my niece. We'll stumble upon that, and then I'll have my fanboy moment.
You know what? I've said this before. I really hate that Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman are so like stingent on this idea of never doing Venus in anything, because it's like Venus is a case of a good idea, horrible execution. I still think the idea of a female turtle can work. I mean, hell, if
don't make them romance.
Yeah, I mean, if Mona Lisa can work twice, there's no reason that a female turtle can't work.
Well, it wasn't one of the bigger issues with her introduction is she was basically related to them or something?
No, the problem was they made it that she wasn't related so that they could force love triangle between her, Leo, and Raph. And she didn't really do anything. She didn't have a weapon. Her thing was she was...
Like a psychic?
She had mystic Chinese
and
powers.
And then when you consider her weapon of choice, Michelangelo pretty much has that covered now, too, right?
Her weapon... Well, here's really interesting.
Wasn't it those bladed geisha fans?
No, here's what's really interesting. The toy, her weapon was bladed geisha fans. In the show, she had these little metal balls that she threw, which didn't do anything. Like, the most she would do with them is take out a light like Raph would do with his sai at times. But she was just a horrible character, but I think she could be good if put in the right hands.
If given another chance and given a good writer.
Yeah.
Also, what I did like about this series is that, like, every turtle had, like, a girl that they, like, basically had somewhat of a relationship.
Oh, my God, yes.
Leo and
I remember
Karai.
I remember that episode in Season 5 where Raph is just, like, completely bored and wants to do something, but he can't because his brothers are all occupied. Donnie's messing around with April. Leo's training with Karai. And Mikey's having, like, a future link with Renette. In his
Did
room,
we learn
and he's
nothing?
Like,
People, did we learn nothing from Sonic 06?
Hopefully.
So, like, I want to know, like, what's everyone's opinion about, like, Donnie being the turtle to like, have, like, relations with April? Like, you'd expect that to be with Mikey, but with Donnie of all turtles?
Well, I mean, I'm not... Well, here's the thing. There's always been a small spark between Donnie and April in most incarnations, because the thing is, April is usually the tech girl. She's not usually a reporter. In the comics and in the 03 series and somewhat in the IDW comics, her thing is she is a scientist. She is either in the new one, she's a geneticist in training. In the comics, in the 03 show...
Yeah, she worked with at TCRI with Batcher Sotman,
yeah,
right?
but she was a computer specialist. The point is, she has always had this kind of link with Donnie because they've always been the science part of the group. Except for the one where she's a reporter.
Yeah. All right, so we basically covered favorite episodes, right?
Chris, favorite episode of what you can remember?
I suppose I'm just going to go with, for right now, the Armageddon one. There might be one or two others that I'd rank a bit higher, but...
The Armageddon one. That's the ending...
The Mutant Apocalypse,
the
right?
Apocalypse.
Mutant Apocalypse one, yeah.
Oh, the Mutant Apocalypse. Because when you said Armageddon, I was thinking of the end of Season 3.
Okay, no, not that one.
Because, my gosh, what a way to end on a enormous cliffhanger. You're like, what?
You mean the season where they make fun of Michelangelo's God painting?
Although I did like the second crossover they did with the 87 Turtles.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one was good, but the second one was better because, like, they actually got 87 Shredder to be involved, but it's too bad that it couldn't get Uncle Phil.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? Let's talk about it now. I actually think the second crossover was...
Better than Turtles in Time? Not Turtles in Time, Turtles Forever.
No, I think it was worse. I think it was pretty weak.
Really?
Because...
Get out.
Well, first let's hear him out and then kick him out.
Hear him out.
Okay.
Well, first off, the plot was pretty weak in that it's kind of just recycling Turtles Forever of... Robot grows big and is stomping around the city and is stopped by Bebop and Rocksteady.
Well, that wasn't the main central part.
In a different way, but, that ending did feel like it was recycled from Turtles Forever. And here's another thing.
But at least they treated the 87 Turtles with respect.
That's the one part. That is the one thing I will say it trumps Turtles Forever over is the crossover treats the 87 Turtles with much more respect than Turtles Forever. Turtles Forever treat them like a joke. But my big problem is when you really look at it, the ending crossover thing, the Turtles don't do a goddamn thing. They do absolutely nothing. If they just sat in the sewer eating pizza, the resolution would still be the same. Because the Turtles don't actually save the day. Bebop and Rocksteady do. Bebop and Rocksteady do all of the work in that entire thing. They don't stop them once. They don't even slow them down.
I'd have to re-see the Forever one, but didn't Bebop and Rocksteady have like half the credit for saving the day since they did stupid things and that ended up resulting in the Turtles actually succeeding?
But that was more of a Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Didn't I just wish that the two crossovers that happened in this show, they had Splinter. Like, they didn't have the original Splinter.
Yeah, that was something I noticed about this crossover. I was kind of hoping, since they were treating the 87 Turtles with more respect, that
maybe, like, Splinter would come over and maybe even April.
Well, I was hoping that we'd
by the
get
way,
more...
the first time we saw... I'm sorry for going off topic, Brian.
No, go ahead.
But the first time we saw, like, their first encounter with, like, their past selves... And Donnie's just, like, drooling over a grown-up April. But to be honest,
you do realize,
who wouldn't?
You do realize he's only 15, right?
Yeah.
That is not...
That's why I said, who wouldn't?
That is not only cross-species furry, that is pedophilia also.
No, not furry. Scaly.
I didn't realize there was a correct term.
There's a definite difference.
Yeah.
A thin one, but a definite
I'm
difference.
sure there's another term for, like, birds. What are they called? Feathers?
I don't know.
Featherly, I guess.
And what about fish? Fishies?
No, that's be scaled as well.
Oh, yeah, because they do have scales.
Okay, let's get away from this.
To go back to the crossover, I was hoping we would get a lot more conversation between the two groups of the way their worlds differ. Like, I believe they do mention that April is a reporter, right?
Yeah, kind of.
But you're so young. How are you supposed to be a reporter?
Yeah, like, I would have loved more conversation like that. Like, I would have loved Casey being like, well, what am I like in your universe? And then Raph's like, you're kind of a psychopath.
Scumbag.
Or basically you older.
Well, because that could have actually been a good way to put in very minor bits of character development where they kind of briefly tell Casey, you're a psychopath who'll fucking beat up a litter bug. Yeah. And maybe Casey, like, has a moment of introspection, is like, maybe I should ease up on the vigilante thing just a bit.
Or he would go, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I can see that's awesome more likely.
Oh, by the way, Casey Jones is voiced by a former Nickelodeon teen star.
Yep.
Josh Peck,
Yep.
of all people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I noticed it. And, like...
Oh, speaking of voice actors, if you ever saw The Loud House, there was an episode where Lincoln wishes that he had brothers instead of sisters, and his older siblings that were the gender swap versions were voiced by the TMNT of this show.
Huh.
Yep.
All of them?
Yeah. Mikey, Leo, Don, and Raph.
Huh.
Nice.
Well, not all of them, just the older siblings.
Okay.
But, like, to go back to the crossover thing, like, another really bit... are we still not doing spoilers, or are we?
Well, there was this one spoiler I wanted to mention.
Well, because there's a pretty big spoiler at the end of season 4, or no, halfway through season 5 or something, that, like, it's going to be impossible not to talk about.
I think it's at the end of season 4. What
Okay.
I think you're talking about.
Yeah, the Splinter one. It's
Yeah.
like... Yeah, we might... Because it's impossible not to talk about
Yeah.
that. Splinter
Yeah.
dies.
Yeah. Twice.
Yeah,
Twice! You never thought you could...
Damn it, Gene! But, like, that would have been cool in the crossover if they got the original Splinter, and that would have been a very...
Yeah, he could have been their motivation. Like, the turtle says, okay, if we can't help you, maybe someone we know who can.
No, that would have been a very interesting thing if, like, the 87 Turtles are like, maybe we should consult with Master Splinter. And, the 2012 Turtles kind of get to see...
Well, you've seen
how
how the 87 Turtles fought in both specials. That makes you think, what is their Master Splinter like?
Yeah.
You have to take that into account too, Brian.
But I still think it would have been cool if, like, the 2017 Turtles get to kind of see their father one last time, even if it's not technically their father. Mm-hmm. That could have been a really emotional moment.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of parallel characters, whatever happened to whatever happened to them when the Fugitoid took the other guys away?
Oh yeah, that's right.
They never resolved that.
Yeah.
Who did he take away? I forget. Oh yeah, the other turtles. Yeah.
Yeah.
He took away the other turtles, April and Casey.
Bye, kids. I'll see you in 20 years. But it's like that's another. For the crossover thing, that's another joke that would have been interesting. They go to the A7 universe and they see Irma and they instantly attack her because they think she's the robot.
Yeah.
Well, aren't they on friendly terms
I was
now?
gonna say about Irma. Speaking of Irma, like this version is more like a nerdy goth chick. Like she's still a nerd, but she's not like the whiny nerd from the '87 one. But we find out that she's actually a crane.
I know, and that's so
that
disappointing
was just
to
like,
me.
what?
That was so disappointing to me because I liked the character. She was cute.
Yeah.
She was sassy. And then oh no, she's really Gilbert Gottfried.
This is a problem. It's a big problem.
That shock was funny.
It would have been cool if they introduced that, like, there was an Irma cryogenically frozen that had been used as the base model.
Yeah, but well,
probably.
Isn't there another?
But if you remember,
Irma robot, but it's not a crane; it's an Utrom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. The Utrom created that Utrom created that model, and the crane stole it.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure that like all the robots that were modeled after these people, they probably do exist, and they probably are frozen somewhere.
I do like that they worked in that the Krang from the '87 show is actually just an Utrom that got banished.
Yeah, but in the original series, didn't they say that Crane is not an Utrom? He is from Dimension X, but he's an alien who was banished to Earth, and he was stripped of his body, and his brain remained.
But he was banished from Dimension X.
Oh yeah.
He wanted to go back to Dimension X and rule it because, if I remember correctly, he was known as General Krang. So it is very possible that he was just a very high-ranking general in a section of Dimension X.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
I guess it was just a fan theory about him having a body and then getting stripped of it.
Yeah.
No, he had a body. It was a robot body.
I thought it was he was a reptile.
Quite what he was talking about.
Because I could have sworn I saw a clip where the turtles go to Dimension X in the past, and they meet Crane, like they see his true form.
Oh, of the '87 show?
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up. That might be an episode I never saw.
What I would have kind of liked to have seen. Oh wait, what's the topic we're on?
We were talking about favorite episodes.
We were talking about favorite episodes and just kind of going over the series overall.
Yeah.
What I kind of wanted to see was Xeno get into power and try to steer the Triceratons in a new direction and trying to establish peace with the Utrom while simultaneously destroying any trace of the Krang.
Speaking of the
that
Triceraton
would've been
episode,
interesting.
where I think they were fighting on the Statue of Liberty, like inside, you see graffiti and it said Venkman was here.
Oh, nice.
Who's Venkman?
From Ghostbusters,
Ghostbusters.
Peter Venkman.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. And speaking of, IDW has done a crossover with TMNT and the Ghostbusters.
Oh man, this is another thing we should address. This version of the Ninja Turtles embraces everything that involves Ninja Turtles.
That's also something I like about the comics. The comics does that too. It embraces all aspects of,
But with a more darker tone.
It's like, here's the thing. I would say that this show and the comics have the same building blocks of doing something new, but also using everything from the old series. It's just they're on opposite ends of the spectrum. This show is more in line with the goofy 87, whereas the comics is more in line with the original comics.
Yeah.
Heck, they even acknowledged the Michael Bay movies.
Oh, yeah, and
Yeah.
the cartoon. I just said, Crane Prime, no, it's Megan Fox.
and Mikey and they were talking about how stupid Mikey's dreams were, and he's like, dudes, I'm telling you, I totally talked to Megan Fox on top of a rooftop.
Yeah.
At least that movie series is dead.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank
Hopefully.
Joy to the world.
All right.
Although, wait a minute. Not anymore. Does Universal still technically have the rights to the Turtles movie?
Let's see. I think Paramount does, which is owned by Viacom, and Viacom owns Nickelodeon as well. So
Okay, so it's not going to be Universal because Universal doesn't exactly have much to work with. So if they did still own Turtles, I would say that they would look at them again, saying, we need a hit, but hopefully not.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite turtle?
Well, here's the thing. I think we should go down the main characters and kind of list, okay, where do you rank this in terms of the different incarnations and why?
So basically, favorite portrayal of characters then?
Well, more like, where do you rank this in terms of best to worst portrayal of the character, and why do you rank it at that level?
I see.
So,
You guys I've already said before.
you don't.
So this is really not
Well,
a question
just,
for me.
just rank it like, how well you think the character was ranked overall, not even compared to other stuff. Okay, so let's start obviously with the Turtles, and we'll start with the leader, Leo. I think, honestly, this is maybe the best portrayal of Leonardo, and the reason I say that is because this does stuff with Leonardo that we have never seen before. This takes an established character who is usually not that liked. I mean, he's always been my favorite turtle. Well, technically, my favorite turtle way back when I was little was probably Mikey, but
Who wasn't?
But I mean, ever since I was kind of older, like since around the 2003, my favorite has been Leo. But this takes an established character, this Star Wars serious leader, and does some very interesting and new stuff with him. It makes him into more of a geek. He's a big Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Captain,
what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Slap!
I do like how each show they watch is like a parody. Like, first was Star Trek, then He-Man, then the Chuck Norris animated special.
And I like how the Turtles even addressed. You guys ever notice that every time we watch an episode of these cartoons, it seems to parallel our lives?
And as much as I love the IDW comics, and as much as I think that is also a great portrayal of Leonardo, it is overall a better portrayal of the pre-existing character that we're used to from the other shows, whereas this does new stuff. This does interesting, never before seen stuff, and adds new dimensions to him instead of just making the old dimensions better.
Yeah, because with the 87 Leo, he was kind of like a Boy Scout, basically.
Which I didn't mind. That is something
You got to have a Boy Scout on the team.
That is something I still give even the 2017 Turtles a little bit of flack for. I still think they make the 87 Leo just a little bit too goofy.
Turtle power!
I think I might have liked the original comic Leo the best because, like, he was, like, the most disciplined of all the Turtles, and, like, he would do whatever it takes to satisfy his master by defeating his enemies at any cost. Because,
I mean,
death,
that's why I've always liked Leonardo, and it's just, I like this incarnation a bit more because every incarnation is a either better or worse version of the comic, whereas this almost feels like an entirely new interpretation.
Well, and let's not forget, Leo also, on his road to leadership, he's also suffered failures, temptations, and sacrifices.
Yeah, this really feels like seeing the progression of a character who is, at the beginning, completely not ready to be leader, and in no way wants to be leader, to a character who is the full, fleshed-out Leonardo that you see in all the other incarnations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, should we move on to the next turtle?
Yes.
Donatello.
Okay, I was going to say, do you want to go from most well-known, or do you want to go from age? Because Leo's the oldest.
Well, I'm going for the way the turtles are introduced in the intros, both in 87 and 2012.
Well, that does it by their age, because Leo's the oldest, Donnie's the second oldest, Raph is the third oldest, and
Mikey's the youngest.
Mikey's the baby.
Okay. All right, Donatello.
So Donnie.
Again, I do think this is one of the best, probably the best, because, again, it's a different side of a character that we don't usually see. Donnie, honestly, I think, usually gets the short end of the stick when it comes to characterization.
That is his weapon.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like, it's just, he's the geek, he's the nerd. We
Yeah.
rarely get any more than that.
And at least in this version, he doesn't dress up like a damn Ghostbusters. Like, I'm talking about the Michael Bay movie, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
But I mean, this we get to see that he's more than just the nerdy guy. He likes to actually have fun. It's just his idea of fun isn't always in line with the others.
Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, sometimes. That's actually one thing I like, is that this show kind of introduces this idea of each pair of turtles has something that they bond with that they can't bond with the others over. Yeah. Leo and Raph bond over sparring. Mm-hmm. Mikey and Raph bond over comic books. Yeah. Donnie and Raph kind of bond over... I forget what they bond over, but... but like Raph and Donnie bond over sci-fi.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Raph and Donnie. Mikey and Donnie bond over sci-fi.
Yeah.
You know, I think Leo and Mikey
I don't know.
kind of
Mikey's
bond
the
over...
kaiju expert.
Yeah.
Speaking of kaijus, I
Lord.
gotta mention this. We can't escape. Me and Nathan can't escape this. This is a spoiler. So Toka, you know the mutant turtle from the second movie, Secret of the Ooze? In this version, Toka is a female, but Toka is a kaiju. Not
She's
just
a
any
giant
kaiju.
lava monster.
Basically, Gamera. Just put it out there.
And
Alright,
during our review of the Gamera trilogy, we were like, you know what? We should talk about something else. God damn it, we can't escape.
Yeah.
We
All
can't.
right, so back on topic. Thoughts on Donnie? I gave mine. What about you
All right.
guys?
Well, with Donnie, this version was good. I mean, I did like he was voiced by Rob Paulson, one of the greatest voice actors of all time. Not as good as Jim Cummings, though, but...
J-Ruff, what are we going to do tonight?
For me, Steve Bloom, all the way.
All right, so...
Him and Scott McNeil.
I do like how this Donnie is kind of, like, nerdy and all, and, like, he could still kick ass. But, like, I kind of liked how, I think maybe the 2003 Donnie was just, like, less nerdy and, like, way more intelligent. Almost like Reed Richards level.
Yeah.
See, I kind of prefer this Donnie for that, in the fact that the stuff he makes looks like it's made out of junk. Like, the stuff that the 03 Donnie made looked like it...
Looked like it was made by the Krang.
Yeah, it looked like it came off the set of Star Trek.
Yeah.
What?
You know, this looks like it was made by somebody who's using whatever parts he finds at the junkyard.
Yeah.
And yet
Yeah,
still
look
does
at Metalhead.
ridiculously powerful
Oh, yeah.
things at times.
True,
but he still
but-
couldn't fix Pulverizer.
True, but it's still a bit more realistic. in
Yeah,
terms
but
of what
like
he's capable of.
even
accurate.
geniuses
I go
have their
more for
failures.
accurate.
Yeah, more accurate.
Yeah,
There
even
you go.
geniuses gotta have their failures. So there you go.
Yeah.
Speaking of Donnie, this is kind of a spoiler for the IDW comic. Bebop and Rocksteady kill him.
Well, it's more. They don't. It's more. They put him into a coma.
Ah, okay.
okay.
Beaten to a coma. Yeah,
Yeah, that
So-
fits his
He-
death
More
all the
useful.
time.
Hey,
'cause-
he still got his ass. They broke his shell open.
yeah, with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But he can survive that potentially and come back.
Well, they use mutagen because in the IDW comics, mutagen started out as
Healing salve?
a healing thing. The basis of mutagen was it was meant to basically be able to heal anything.
So I take it that Krang took it and weaponized it.
More or less, yeah.
Wait, I thought Donnie in the IDW comic came back to life as Metalhead.
No, they wired his brainwaves up to the metalhead robot.
Ah,
Hence, Mutant Apocalypse. I guess that was a throwback to that.
Huh.
maybe.
Might have been.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same
I'm
idea,
surprised
but yeah.
what they didn't do with Leo is like they try to make Leo go to the dark side, like in the IDW comics.
They kind of did when he starts dressing in black. It was less him going to the dark side and
More like an emo phase.
Well, no. It was more like the Night Stalker incident with Raph in the 07 movie.
Yeah.
But when were we talking about Donnie?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I guess that's it for Donnie. Let's move on to Raph.
You know what? I'm going to say that while this is a good interpretation, this is a good version of Raph, I don't rank him as the highest version.
Is it because he's afraid of bugs?
No, it's because I think the 03 version of Raph was given a lot more depth over time.
Yeah, but I'd say...
And unlike
All right,
unlike Leo and Donnie, there isn't really anything new done with this version of Raph.
Yeah, because
that hasn't
Raph
been
is
done
just
before.
the hothead.
Yeah.
Because that's basically... Well, in the '87 cartoon, they couldn't make him that way. Instead, they made
They
him
did
smart.
near the end.
Oh, they did?
Near the end, they made him much more. I wouldn't say like
Aggressive?
aggressive. He was a bit more kind of like Shadow the Hedgehog, where he's always mouthing off.
Yeah, he was more like a smartass.
Yeah, he was much more of a smartass and a bit more of an asshole.
Yeah. But
He wasn't full on, anger. I'll kick this guy's ass. It was more like, kind of like Wolverine tends to act around Cyclops.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'd say this Raph wasn't really on the highest because, like, Raph is kind of like a dark character. So, like, if you do him in a kid's show, there's not really much you can do with said character. And I would say that the best Raph for me had to be the 90s movie.
Yeah. You're not getting any argument from me.
One really good scene with Raph from the original comic that I stumbled on. It was during like the third series of the comic, some series where they're older. It was an interesting scene, and it kind of gave some insight into why Raph is always angry. And one of the things he said was that he hates knowing that they will never continue. That because there were only 4 of them and they are all male, like that's it.
Oh, wow.
Like part of his anger comes from
Like we can't have
kids.
have a
we can't have kids,
a family.
we can't have a legacy, a family. We are technically a new species, and we are going to be the only ones of that species.
Oh man, that's deep.
It is.
That is deep.
And I like that in the comic, and it's something that doesn't show up very often.
Yeah. Well, in the Michael Bay movie, the second one, when they said that they found a cure for themselves, like, oh, we can become human. Raph says, no, I don't want to be human.
They scratched the surface of that at times, but the original comic actually kind of went there and explored that a bit.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be a cure in that case.
Because Michael Bay can't do emotion for shit.
Nope.
What is this
He
emotion
tried,
of which you speak?
And
is it
it's sad
explosions?
because
I can
tried.
explosions.
He tried so hard with Pearl Harbor, and it failed spectacularly.
Okay, so that's Raph. Mikey.
Oh, this Mikey. He's up there with the 90s movie.
Yeah.
I rank this, honestly, kind of as one of the lower Mikeys.
Really?
He's played up so much as a goofball, and there's very little done.
But Mikey is a goofball.
Yeah.
But there are so many other incarnations that explore that, yeah, he's a goofball, but that there's more to him than that. The
I think
03 series did that.
I think they established that well with this series too. Because remember when he was sent through, when he jumped through the Krang portal to get to Dimension X, and they caught up to him. He was like, dudes, where have you guys been? I've been waiting for you for 6 months. Even though it passed 5 minutes in their time.
Okay,
I will
admit.
Seconds, I think.
I will admit there are a few moments of that, like the Dimension X thing. But the 03 series is a good example where there are a lot of times where it shows that Mikey is better than what he lets on, and it's just that he doesn't try and kind of goofs off. Like a good one is the tournament in the 03 series. That really explores that Mikey can be better than what. Or the future episode.
Yeah, I was going to say, because in the
Mikey-
future episode, Mikey was more serious.
Mikey is a freaking badass.
Yeah,
in
he
that.
put aside his, okay, I got to cut the goofy shit off, and, I'm in a future where my worst enemy is in control, so I got to, get serious.
The 03 series really explores this idea that Mikey kind of goofs off and is lazy and not as good as he could be, mostly because he's so reliant on his brothers.
Yeah,
And the comic does that as a degree. The IDW comic, really explores this idea that Mikey is the heart, that Mikey is kind of the emotional glue that keeps them together. Because there is a arc where the Turtles end up in charge of the Foot Clan, and Mikey's just like, no, these are our enemies. I'm not going to be a part of this. And he leaves. And the Turtles kind of start falling apart. They kind of start arguing with each other because they don't have Mikey to kind of be that mediator and keep them in line and be the thing to protect.
Has Mikey ever doubted himself and his abilities?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd kind of assume as much.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, this is a very funny version of Mikey, but there's very little depth to him, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think he is kind of a weak version of that. I mean, he's a funny version. Don't get me wrong. I like him, but there's not really that much to him, I don't think.
I guess there is more to Mikey than meets the eye.
Yeah, and this version, you know, he's a great version for kids. He's funny, but they don't scratch below the surface very much.
I mean, Mikey will always be my favorite turtle, but I gotta say, I relate more to Raph.
Yeah.
As I got older, I'm like, I can relate more to Raph. Basically.
Yeah, I think I think when you're kids, you always relate more to Mikey because you just want to have fun. And I think as you get older, if you're still into turtles, you start gravitating toward one of the others. You know, you gravitated toward Raph. I gravitated toward Leo.
What did you gravitate towards?
More Donnie.
Yeah.
This is a very tough question for me for picking out favorite turtle, because you've established everything I like about these guys, and in the end, I can't choose one. Because when it comes to me, whenever I go into a new animated series or TV show or movie, I go in and I end up loving all of the characters, and I can't pick and I can't favor one over the other most of the time.
Yeah. Understandable, fully understandable. I mean, so we covered the turtles. Let's move on to some of the other characters.
How about Splinter?
Yeah, I was going to say that. Splinter.
Hands down, best Splinter ever.
Yeah, but
To me.
Yeah, it really seems to be the best at the fighting ones.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I'm torn between this and the IDW comics because they both do some very interesting stuff. And I would say they're on par, the IDW in this one.
I mean, like, as terms as, like, fighting, the Splinter is amazing. But, like...
It does kind of beg the question of why isn't Splinter out there with them more?
But I just wish that his personality was more like the 90s movie. Because, like, to me, I thought the 90s Splinter was probably my personal favorite because...
Well, then you'll like the IDW Splinter.
Because, like, the scene where he talks to Raph about his anger...
Oh, yeah.
There's a good scene of that in the... like that in the IDW comic where where Raph wants to kill Casey's father for putting him in the hospital because his father's abusive.
Uh-huh.
And Raph goes to kill him and Splinter's there first holding a knife to Casey's dad, and he kind of explains to Raph his past and how he also used to be filled with anger, and meeting Ten Shin helped quell that anger.
Oh, well, we do kind of get something like that in this series where Splinter said, hey, Raph, well, he didn't really say it like that, like, I too was angry at a young age. Like, my words became weapons. Like, me and Saki fought over the same woman, and I just called him every bad name in the book, and look what happened. He ruined my life.
Which is why I think this is a good version. I think it does a really good job of balancing this idea of the wise mentor with a lovable and funny father.
Yeah.
He also had his fair share of troubles in this series. I mean, like, arguably, I think the scariest villain in the series was probably the Rat King.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not scariest, definitely the creepiest.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of balancing the comedy and the wisdom, like, I think it was like one of the earliest episodes, you know, he's talking with Leo, and Leo's like, why did you make leader? He's like, the truth is...
You asked first.
No. Yeah,
oh, wait.
You guys first. Any of you could have been leader. Even Mikey?
No, not Mikey.
No, not Mikey.
Yeah.
I like when he says, let me think about who's going to be the leader. It's Leonardo.
Yeah.
It's Leonardo.
Closed door, moment, open door.
Yeah, I like that they... Because that's the thing. A lot of them tend to lean toward Splinter being the wise, ancient mentor.
Yeah,
and
like Yoda.
And they don't always explore the idea of he is technically their father.
Yeah.
So I like that this really does
the
a good
90s
job.
version also did kind of like make him like the father figure.
But it wasn't brought up that often. There was like maybe one or two episodes where they brought it up.
No. The 90s movie.
Oh, the 90s movie. Yeah, sorry. I was thinking the
Yeah.
87 show. There actually was an episode where Splinter gets turned back into a human in the 87 show, and he goes above ground. It doesn't last, unfortunately. The effects kind of wear off.
Of course.
But the Turtles worry that now that Splinter is human, that he'll leave them.
Oh.
That he'll kind of just go make a life for himself
I gotta
above
say
ground.
that every scene Splinter's in the 90s movies, like all the things that he says and does, like with the Turtles and like that talk he had with the kid who was with the foot. I mean, there's just so much emotion in that. Like, it's more powerful than what Michael Bay has done with both movies.
Not a fair comparison.
It's more powerful than what Michael Bay could ever do.
Period.
The cheese phone.
Oh, God, the cheese phone.
Well, here's the thing.
Moshi moshi.
Here's the thing. We make fun of that, but come on. Do you really not think that Mikey, for like, I don't know, his 12th birthday, would give Splinter a cheese phone as a birthday present?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on. That's something Mikey would do.
That's something Mikey would do, or maybe Splinter himself got it. Maybe Splinter got it himself.
No, I am convinced that was a present from one of the Turtles on one of his birthdays. It's like Mikey found it in the dump. He's like, dude, this will be perfect for Splinter.
And he just has like this little smile, like, it's the thought that counts.
Yeah. The cheese phone.
Okay, let's talk about the main villain.
Ice Cream Kitty!
Maybe not.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Shredder.
This was a very good incarnation of
yeah.
Shredder.
Kevin Michael Richardson at probably one of his best.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. And again, this is... I think the IDW comic version is a little bit better, but I think this is only just below that because it does a lot of the really cool stuff that the IDW comic Shredder also does in terms of kind of exploring his character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this Shredder, spoilers for the 03 series. I know you haven't seen it.
I'm not going to watch it.
Shredder in the 03 series was actually an amalgamation of Crane.
Which is something interesting I find. Looking back, I realize I think that might have been one of the weakest Shredders. Because he was very single-minded. There really wasn't much to him. It was just, I want to conquer the world. I don't really remember there being much to his character outside of that.
Yeah.
Again, like with this version of Shredder, he also has a one-track mind. Destroy his enemy. But at the same time, he twists the truth in front of him to...
Yeah, that is a really good thing. Shredder has his own interpretation of how history happened and how he was wronged, and he is so set in that mindset, and that is fully what you would expect of someone who wants that kind of power and why they want that power.
Because he even convinced himself that Karai is his rightful daughter.
Yeah,
and that he convinced himself that Karai is his daughter. He convinced himself that
Splinter betrayed him.
Splinter betrayed and killed the woman he loved.
Yeah, he convinced himself that it was all Splinter's fault and that he was in the right. And I think that's true of would-be dictators and people who are that kind of evil. They twist the truth in their own mind to suit to make themselves the hero.
And every once in a while, you see him even begin to doubt whether or not what he thinks is true is actually true.
And I like that he has, he has a moral system of how far he'll go in the beginning, and it slowly goes
just
further,
degrades.
But even then, there is a limit when he's brought back from the dead. To him, that is too far. The dead should not come back to life. And I love that very much ties into the Japanese belief system.
Ooh.
There is that Japanese belief system of honor and respect the dead. You shouldn't tamper with the dead.
Yet they gave us Dragon Ball Z, where they wish people back to life all the time.
Well, it's not quite the same thing.
Well, no, but
they're being wished back to life.
No, here's the thing. Even DBZ has a rule of you cannot wish back those who have died of natural causes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You can only wish back
if they were murdered.
If they were murdered, yeah.
That's right. Forgot about that.
I see.
Okay, so we basically talked about the main cast. What about the supporting cast?
Wait. Oh, supporting cast, right. April and Casey.
Yeah.
Actually, just for the other thing, the Super Dragon Balls might be able to wish you back even if you died of natural causes. They're said to have no limits.
Huh. I don't know. I don't watch Dragon Ball. So Casey and April.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is going to come up with me throughout this entire character retrospective. But Casey, One of the best, not as good as the IDW, still probably the second best. Because the IDW does a lot to explore Casey's family. In this, he kind of doesn't even have it.
Yeah.
No, he does mention that he has a dad and a little sister.
He mentions it, but we never see his family.
Yeah.
We never see him interact with his dad, his mother, his sister. You know, even April gets interaction with her dad.
Yeah. Who looks a lot like Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I
Does
first
that make,
went...
wait. Does that make April Buffy?
Well, aren't they redheads?
I thought Buffy was a blonde.
Oh, I
thought Buffy was a brunette.
Well, April has orange hair, so...
Back to Casey.
When I got into this series, I was very, very skeptical of April and Casey Jones' portrayal as teenagers.
Yeah.
Because we grew up watching the
Casey,
movie.
let's do a selfie.
Because we grew up watching the movies, we saw like the cartoons, and they've consistently been adults. So this was a big, drastic change for longtime fans.
Actually, in a weird way...
Yeah, I mean, I think the youngest we ever get in terms of either of them is like an incarnation saying like April is just starting out as a reporter.
Yeah.
But
I
she's
suppose
always
in a
still
weird
an
way
adult.
you could combine the 2012 with the 2003, since I think the 2003 one is more action-based. Well, 2012 one is more action-based, so maybe 2012 one grows up into the 2003 one.
Probably.
Yeah, but the 2003 one was a
And
computer
the
expert.
fact that he's missing like 3 of his teeth
Just
it
needs
didn't
to
really
study
help.
more.
All right. So is that it for April and Casey?
Well, we didn't really cover April, and we were only getting started on Casey.
So, premature killing it.
I like... one thing that's interesting that I like because it's kind of different, and it also kind of takes away a bit, is Casey becomes vigilante just to be a vigilante. In every other incarnation, it's because of something to do with the purple dragon.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see it. This time it's just because he wants to be a
Yeah.
hero.
I really liked what the 03 series did with Casey.
I can't remember why he became a vigilante in the original comics.
Oh, yeah.
I know that in the original comics he was married with a kid on the way
Oh, wow.
Oh, shit.
when we first meet him.
Damn.
Ugh.
And then I think the wife and the unborn kid die.
Ooh.
Oof. Ouch.
That sucks.
Because he was in his first incarnation, he was working as a grocery bagger, trying to make ends meet for his wife and soon-to-be-born child. And he kept getting in trouble because of his temper, and he had a rap.
Not the best situation.
Well, we can all agree that the Michael Bay versions of April and Casey sucked.
Yeah.
Bottom of the
Can
barrel.
we not discuss
Can we
that?
not acknowledge its existence, please?
Yeah.
You keep trying to compare everything to the Michael Bay version. You're scraping the bottom of the barrel and even punching through it.
I'd rather acknowledge the existence of the next mutation.
Yeah, that's a step
But
up.
what about the best animated series? The anime Ninja Turtles.
Hey, at least that's good for just how over the top stupid it is.
Yeah, I share that kind of same mindset with... no, never mind.
All right.
But anyway, I do like that Casey is doing it just because he wants to be a hero. And something I like that I'm surprised wasn't explored more is him being somewhat of a gadgeteer.
Oh, yeah, because he had that taser thing.
He had the
Oh,
electric
man, yeah,
shock.
that was always cool.
He had the exploding hockey pucks, all that gear that he was using. He had the automatic skates. All that gear he was using, he made himself.
Because he acts like a punk, but deep down he's actually pretty smart.
Yeah.
Heck, when they were back in the farmhouse, he and Donnie were rigging up a car.
Yes, pretty standard cartoon super geniuses of super geniusness.
Oh God, how does that back and forth go?
It always begins with an insult in the
No, but they're
ABCs.
going through the alphabet. Dome head.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
So
Here goes, gackface. I'm ready, hose brain.
So we pretty much talked about the main cast, right?
We didn't get to April.
Oh yeah. How would you rate this April?
Well, we already heard. He thinks this is the least good April to him.
No, I still think this is a very good April.
You just don't really
the
sidekick thing, and you didn't like how it reached.
I just think the sidekick thing was a
lackluster.
A bit of missed potential. I still think this is a good April, and like I said with most of these versions, I think the IDW does it better because it explores them a bit more. Like, we see more of her family in the IDW comic. This, we only get her dad.
Yeah. Does she, try to defend herself in the IDW, like in this one where she's training to be a kunoichi?
Not as much. She's much more of a spy than anything else.
So she's more like Barbara as Oracle, right?
She's a bit more of a double agent because she worked
they're
for
both
TCRI.
So more like Black Widow?
A little bit, yeah.
I'm actually wondering how well fights would have gone if she had really developed her powers more, because it reminds me of if Splitter was in the fights more. These two have the potential to be incredibly powerful. You're going to have to basically throw strong enemies at them to even the playing field.
What's funny is, if I remember correctly, in the 87 Turtles, April did eventually become a bit of a fighter. Not really like in this, but in the 87 Turtles, near the end of the series run, she was taking self-defense lessons from the Turtles so that she could defend herself better when she needed to.
Oh, wow.
It's a shame that both Casey and April didn't defend themselves from Dracula.
Yeah.
Now, what can you do to defend yourself from Dracula?
Oh man, I should have brought that episode. I should have brought those episodes up when we were talking about episodes.
I would rank this actually even with the IDW comic, but for different reasons. The IDW comic explores April more on an emotional and mental level, like her past, psychological level. This does more with her in terms of being an action character. Explores more the idea of her growing as a fighter.
And as a part of the team.
And as a part of the team, yes.
All right. What about some of the new characters that were introduced, like Tiger Claw and Shinigami?
Tiger Claw was a great addition.
Hang on, we didn't cover your favorite characters.
Oh, yeah, Bebop and Rocksteady, of course.
There we go.
All right, this incarnation, I mean, it is something different because, I guess people were tired of, the whole, dumb numbskull buffoon.
Yeah, it's like, I really like Reinhardt.
Of the dumb...
No,
henchman,
Reinhardt's
basically.
German. Rocksteady is Russian.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Sorry.
Basically, this version of Bebop and Rocksteady is just Michael Jackson with Tron powers and the Heavy from TF2.
Heck, his weapons of choice is a hammer and sickle.
Yeah, and he has the minigun like the Heavy.
Well, they're basically just the current version
Mama?
of the other one. Yeah. Mama!
And I was just
Yeah.
For Mama!
Yeah.
I will crush your head like small blueberry.
Yeah, they're still pretty dumb, but I actually count them as being upscale dumb. The original 87s were about as dumb as you can get. These two are still dumb, but their universe is higher up in the scale,
Well,
so still dumb for that.
What's funny is Bebop, I would say, retained a consistent level of threat, whereas Rocksteady seemed to get less threatening and more dumb as the series went on.
Yeah.
Because
when you have a cloaking device, you're going to be threatened.
Well, no, because when Rocksteady was first introduced as it was Ivan something. Forget his last name.
Yeah, I don't know.
But when he was first introduced as this exotic hunter, he was incredibly intimidating.
Yeah.
Whereas by the end, he's kind of starting to lean toward the same level of goofy as the 87 Rocksteady.
I did actually like that in the crossover episode where the Turtles are trapped and Rocksteady says, "Hey, I can free us. Just insult the big dumb idiot and have him do this thing." Then he says, "Why would big dumb idiot do that?" before he does something to hit them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm probably going to get a lot of flake for this, but I'd say the best Bebop and Rocksteady had to be the Michael Bay version. Because you could...
In terms of design,
Well,
yes.
because that's literally Michael Bay, what he knows how to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they were made for a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
You can be as over the top as you can with these two characters.
I saw the trailer and I thought, oh man, I can't argue. They are the best. These are
I'm
the
a
best.
rhino.
You're a rhino. Oh, wait, I'm a little piggy.
No. He didn't say I'm a rhino. He's all, I don't know what the hell I am.
You're a rhino, dude.
And I'm a little piggy.
Yeah, and then and obviously, since it's a Michael Bay movie, there's going to be fart and dick jokes.
Well, honestly,
of course.
no. Here's the thing. He actually did a good dick joke.
Yeah.
He did a good dick joke where they look down.
Yeah.
Because you would totally expect two dude bros to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bebop and Rocksteady are out, and Tiger Claw. What do you guys think of Tiger Claw?
Well, hang on. What about Karai?
Oh, well, in most portrayals, Karai is always Shredder's daughter.
Yeah.
But this one, she was Hamato Yoshi's daughter, Splinter's.
And I think I would maybe say this one is better than the IDW comics because they do a lot more with her personality. The IDW comics, she's much more straight-laced. She does get some character development. Like there's a part where Shredder brainwashes Leo into being his Chunin. And Karai obeys Shredder, but she is also very pissed at him because, she rightly thinks, I have done all this work. I've done everything you've asked. I've been super loyal. It's like, I should be the one to be Chunin. Why am I having to be our enemy's subordinate? So there are a couple parts where you do get more character development for her, but I think in terms of overall, this actually does more and does better.
Yeah.
So I guess not being his daughter helped.
Yeah.
Because
there's more you can do with that betrayal angle.
Yeah. Let's see. So
how long are you going to avoid Tiger Claw?
Well, I want to get through the characters that are existing before we get to the brand new ones. One thing I kind of wish they would have explored more with Karai was this idea that technically she and the Turtles are brothers and sister.
Yeah.
They really didn't do much with this idea of, they technically have the same father. It's very much a rogue.
Now that you mention it.
It's very much a rogue and Nightcrawler situation.
Uh-huh.
And they didn't really do much to kind of explore that, and I wish they had.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
All right, so we talked about Karai.
I'm surprised we never got any kind of a...
Baxter Stockman.
Well, one last thing about Karai. I'm really surprised that we never got any kind of a girl episode between her and...
Shinigami?
No, between her
and April.
Like them going... Avatar has that one episode where Katara and Toph take a day off and just kind of hang out.
Uh-huh.
I'm surprised we never got that between Karai and April.
Yeah.
Well, would
Karai,
even really
April,
want to do
and
that?
Shinigami.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
I do like that Karai... this may be me, but Karai's kind of thing with Leo almost feels like, I'm dating him, Dad, and if you don't like him, if you don't like it, tough. It almost feels like she's doing it to piss off her dad.
Yeah. Okay. Baxter Stockman?
It depends. This is another example of does something really different with a character.
Yeah.
Because most of the time Baxter is kind of diabolical.
Oh, yeah. Because, he, in the original comic, this was before 9/11. He actually wanted to destroy the World Trade Center in the original comic.
Oh, I forgot. I never read that part, but
Ooh.
I can see it. The Baxter in most incarnations he is the Weasley double dealer who backstabs everybody.
Yep.
And in this one, he's like an incompetent...
Yeah.
He's Snively.
Yeah.
Snively. That's the word. Not quite Starscream level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just, believe it or not, below that.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's competent, but he is always...
Very competent.
He's always under someone... No, I said competent, not incompetent.
No, I said very
Oh,
competent.
yeah, but he's always under someone's boot in this.
Yeah. It wasn't until he became a fly that he's actually become a little bit more of a threat.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, can we acknowledge that at first he really hated being a fly, and then when he got turned back, he's like, "Why? I liked being a fly!"
I got respect as a fly.
Well, I imagine there would be some people like that where they like the power.
Yeah.
Because, who knows, maybe as a fly he was able to, think faster.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said I was smarter as a fly.
Huh.
Seems a bit odd.
Well, when you
Though I wouldn't-
mutate, you gain abilities. So I guess that was his faster thinking.
Though I would not like having to puke on my food before I eat
Yeah.
it. I would not like that.
But yeah, in regards to getting cured, he also mentions he could have cured himself at any time, but once he discovered the faster thinking, it's like, no way.
Well, you'd think that in that case he would have tried to at least stabilize his mutation more.
Yeah.
How do you know he didn't already?
Well, because it still looked janky. You'd think there would have been an episode where he made it look more clean, like with Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they didn't want to make more models for him or something.
I do Oh, yeah. Are we done talking about Bats or something?
If you want to move on to another character.
Let's move on.
How about Chris Bradford, a.k.a. Dog Pound, a.k.a. Razor?
I have a feeling that the studio was like, we're not selling enough toys of Dog Pound. You need to either get rid of the character or fix it. And then they made him into Razor.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they didn't turn Fishface into Toka, because I thought they were going to do that.
Yeah, same here. And I loved how Chris Bradford is modeled after Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
What's a Chuck in the house? but wait.
Chuck Norris
wait.
with Clancy Brown's voice.
Does that mean that Chris
Okay.
Bradford is a
No,
homophobe?
no.
Oh.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Well, it's true.
Well, I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to condemn people.
Well, if nothing else, just he looks like him, but he's not the same character. So for anyone who doesn't like that, he just looks like the guy.
I kind of like him.
Kind of like how Hun in this version looks like Bruce Lee.
I wish they had kept his talking in third person thing. Because if I remember when he was Chris Bradford, he tended to talk in third person.
Yeah.
I like that, and I wish they had kept that.
With Fishface, I listen to his voice, and it makes me think of a character from Dragon Age Origins, Zevran. Have you guys ever played that or heard anything about it?
I've heard a bit. The name sounds familiar, but
Zevran. He was an elf assassin, member of the Crows.
I probably read a bit of his wiki page. That's about it.
Zephyr felt like kind of one of the weakest characters in the series.
Yeah.
Well,
In
when
terms
you
of-
don't
in
have
terms of-
legs.
Well, in terms of main recurring characters, because I don't know, he never really got a lot of development or even fight development.
Yeah.
All right, Leatherhead.
Definitely a very good version.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think might be kind of one of the weaker ones.
Oh, because he just gets triggered all the time when you say the word crane.
Yeah, and
He got over it.
Even the 03 kind of did more with Leatherhead's character.
But
They did a lot
you're
more.
forgetting the best Leatherhead, Jim Cummings Leatherhead.
I say I'm
What
gonna
is with you
stop
and Jim
them
Cummings?
toilets.
He's my favorite voice actor.
Well, I can't deny that.
We going down to the bar, boys.
I guarantee.
Yeah, I guarantee. Oh, he voiced. Now that I'm realizing it, he voiced Jambalaya Jake.
Jambalaya
in
Jake.
Darkwing, didn't he? Because he did that same thing as Jambalaya.
He was
Jake.
also Darkwing.
Well, yeah. No, he's also Negaduck as
Yeah.
well.
He's a number of characters.
But I'm just saying, I think he might have done
has a big
Jambalaya
portfolio.
Jake because he had that
Jake,
exact same
yes.
voice.
Okay. What about Slash? The fact that they got Corey Feldman, the Donnie from the '90s movie.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
That
that was Corey Feldman.
Oh my God, I could hear it now.
What are we gonna do today, Corey Feldman?
Well, I'm surprised how with the Slash toy, he appeared in the '87 cartoon first, right? And then the toy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised how the toy looks very different from the '87 version. Like the toy looks scary and threatening, while the other one just looks all goofy.
I want my bouquet.
Where's my beaky?
I like this version of Slash. I think he might be the best. The IDW will probably end up trumping it, but at this point, it's the best because the IDW comic recently actually made Slash intelligent.
Oh. So he's not just a mindless monster?
No, he's now actually intelligent and can talk and be poetic and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like
here we
Beast from X-Men, but like evil.
Not as poetic as that, and he's not really evil.
Oh man,
He's kind of anti-hero.
Okay. How about the 3 other members of the Mighty Mutanimals? Mondo Gecko, Dr. Rockwell, and Pigeon Pete.
I love that they got the original Mikey from Mondo Gecko.
Yes, it was the best passing of the torch of Cowabunga.
Yeah.
All right.
Honestly, I did feel like there was more they could have done with Slash, considering his relationship to Raph.
Oh, yeah.
There's the one episode where he's trying to kill the turtles, and then the next episode it's like, yeah, I'm over that. You know, we're friends now. We're buds.
I don't get that.
It's like, what the fuck?
Well, if you remember, he teamed up with the Neutralizer, and he may have not been with Raphael anymore, but he still believed in a lot of stuff that he believed, like no harming innocents and whatnot, whereas the Neutralizer didn't give a shit about anybody that's in his way.
Yeah.
And that's what turned Slash into a more decent character later on.
It's like, hey, man, it's all good now. Sorry for killing you. Sorry for trying to kill you.
So have we pretty much talked about all the characters?
We don't talk about Pigeon Pete.
Yeah.
He kind of disappeared anyway, so it's not like it matters.
Yeah, he wasn't really around that much anyway.
Well, I was going to give my quick thoughts on Tiger Claw. I thought he was a good henchman, very capable.
Very good.
Very good.
Yeah, they, for a new character, they did a lot of cool stuff with him.
And he loses a lot of body parts in this series. First thing you see, he loses his tail. He comes back, loses an eye and parts of his ear, and later on, he loses his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, didn't he have his tail lost before he even appeared?
Yes.
I thought he already had the eye patch when he appeared.
Yeah,
Did he?
Yeah.
I think
No.
so.
No, I don't think he had the eye patch yet. I think he had the eye patch when he came back from traveling through dimensions.
All right.
Might have been.
Yeah.
So we're done with characters. How about favorite pizza?
Pizza time.
No, there are plenty more characters.
All right. But you don't want to hear my wonderful stories of how I work at Papa John's?
No, not really.
Are you going to
Besides-
get us a discount after this?
Besides, we know what your favorite pizza is. Pizza time.
Do not ask. Do not ask. You will regret it.
Okay, if I'm going to regret it, then... Because when he said, do not ask, I was like, And then he said, you will regret it.
skipping
I'm like,
favorite
okay,
pizza.
okay. All right, no more pizza.
All right.
No
Thoughts
favorite
on the new series?
What new series?
There's a new series coming out after this. It's called
Tales of the Ninja
No.
Turtles.
It's Rise of the
Oh,
TMNT.
Rise of the TMNT.
Yeah, very simplified art style.
Well, apparently they're gonna make Raph the leader.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of which, that was an interesting idea when they did those shorts with the mech turtles.
Oh yeah, I was gonna mention that the Mech Turtles, where it's in the future, and then Mikey was the sensei.
That was most bodacious, bros.
I do like how this Mikey was voiced by Beast Boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you want to know what's funny? For some unexplained reason, Mikey's voice actor and Renette's voice actor keep getting linked together in romances. They were Mikey and Renette, they were Beast Boy and Tara, and they were Chinmei and the one guy from Super Monkey Robot Hyperforce.
Hyperforce Go.
Yeah.
Oh,
What was that
wow.
character's name?
I don't know. I've never seen the show.
Never
I know the
neither have I,
the
but-
girl was called Chinmei. I forget what the main character's name was. Chiro or something.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I think it was
they're
Chiro.
fun.
But it's like they keep getting put together on shows where they're a couple.
Okay.
Maybe they will be a couple in real life.
I guess we'll just see what the next one is.
All right. So for the new series, most of the voice actors are African American. I think the voice of Raph is Corey from Corey in the House.
Well, hopefully the writing is not Teen Titans Go level. That's my main concern.
That
So-
that is disconcerting.
So the new Turtles is going to be the best anime ever.
Maybe
And I
not.
think
We'll
they
see.
are changing April's ethnicity in this show.
Well, why not, I guess.
Well,
I
when
mean-
it comes to changes and creative liberties,
Yeah.
so long as they stay true to the characters,
Yeah.
I really would not mind.
I don't mind an ethnicity change. The only times I mind it is if it's, in the case of white characters, there are a few characters where it's like they have to remain white due to their origin. Like a good example is Captain America. It's like, really? A black Captain America in 1945? It's like, you may think that that's being progressive, but that's hell of a not realistic.
Yeah, because basically, Captain America, to go off topic, is basically like the person is. I think he was modeled after Hitler's Übermensch.
Yeah.
but it was a middle finger to Hitler's ideal of the Übermensch.
It was basically
blonde hair,
taking-
blue eyes, but it was basically on our side.
Yeah, I mean, another example of that is Batman. Batman comes from
White, rich family,
rich,
old school.
old money.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a character that kind of has to be white based just on his origin.
I guess you could change Superman's ethnicity because he's technically an immigrant.
Yeah.
Well, hey, they did in Gods and Monsters.
Oh, they did? Oh, yeah, I think there was a comic where Superman's Asian.
No, he was. No, in Gods and Monsters, he was Mexican.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Hey, Mexican Superman!
and
I
Zod
got
was
the
his father.
keys!
Skedaddle, Mexican Batman!
Did you hear what I said? Zod was his father.
Wow, Zod was his father?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember hearing
it's
about
amazing what one act can cause a whole butterfly effect.
that. I kind of like what they did with Harley in that Gods and Monsters thing. Basically, they gave her a super skimpy outfit. She looked like she was dressed in nothing. She was pretty much dressed in nothing but lingerie. But from what I hear, it was kind of a middle finger to the new 52 Harley because of how skimpy she is.
I see.
But regarding the new Turtles come out, considering the fact that it's basically been established that a multiverse of Turtles exists, if April does get a change like that, it's like, okay, just stay accurate to the characters and new universe, new versions.
Well, we don't really know much about the new series, so, like I said, there's not really much to talk about that. How about, like, the future and what we would like to see next for the TMNT?
Well, I would kind of like to see what Brian brought up be brought on the table for a kids show about the fact that why Raphael is so angry is because he knows that they can never leave a legacy.
Yeah.
Couldn't they
Yeah.
just adopt in some variation?
Well, there is a fan comic where Raph ends up having a kid with Mona.
Oh, that's nice.
It's actually really sweet because Raph just kind of gets the message. It's like, hey, you need to come pick up your kid because, Mona's technically in the army. Brings the kid home, and the Turtles are just going, how the hell do we break the news to Splinter? It's just like the baby crawls out of the basket and wanders, and they're looking all over for it. Then just Splinter just picks up, and really sweet line. He's like, it has been many years since I held a baby girl.
Oh.
Aww.
Well, I am definitely looking forward to what's probably going to be the next universe endangering crossover with whatever version of Turtles is on at the time, and probably the 87 ones again. Maybe a few others.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, I think it's a given. You have to cross over with the 87 one.
Yeah.
Speaking of 87, when Bebop and Rocksteady broke into that government facility, there was a big door that said 1987.
Yeah,
and it
that's
showed Teddy Ruxpin,
I saw that. Yeah.
RoboCop,
Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger, and they were just trying to find, what was it again? Some kind of crane device. Oh my
crane
god.
Yeah, I remember that.
But oh my god, seeing all those Blast to the Past stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, how did they get the rights to put those references
Yeah, I know,
in
that was
there?
awesome.
Well, I think it's partially because you mostly just see them in silhouette.
Well,
Oh, I think they also had a Ghostbusters thing in there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, they did. They did.
let's see.
Well,
So-
I mean, there was that one episode where they're fighting ghosts where they literally were just basically Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, well, for the future, I mean, I am excited that they are part of the Injustice DLC.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be
Oh
interesting.
yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Now I have no excuse not to get Injustice.
Yeah, but I think
I
the
think it
full
anyway,
version
but yeah.
with the DLC might be at $100.
Yeah.
Or wait for drops in price and such.
Or just wait until they release everything on the disc, like they did with Mortal Kombat.
I'm not getting it until a heavy
Yeah.
price drop because as much as I love TMNT, I am horrible at the Mortal Kombat fighting engine. So if I get it, I'm hoping that the Turtles kind of keep me engaged long enough to actually learn how to be good with it, because I get my ass kicked anytime.
I'm giving
try
the Turtles all my money.
For the disc comment, I'd be getting it on Steam, so yeah.
PC, bro.
I say nothing.
I would like to see another stab at a movie series.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason why is because...
Give it another 10, 15 years, man.
Well, no, here's the thing. This is something I was thinking about. You know, I mentioned that I used to be super into the Turtles, and then I switched over to Power Rangers. Mm-hmm. The reason that I came back to the Turtles, and the reason that I will always come back to the Turtles, and why I've never really gone back to Power Rangers, is because the Turtles have proved that there is more to them than the 87 show. You know, the 87 show was done for marketing. Power Rangers was done for marketing and toy sales. But Power Rangers, there are a couple of cases, very rarely tried to be more than what it was. It very rarely tried to be more than this action show about characters using martial arts and weapons and swords and stuff.
Giant robots.
Giant robots. There are a couple of Power Ranger series that did try to be more than that. Like
In Space.
In Space is a good example. But In Space really only succeeded with the Red Ranger. What do you really remember character-wise about anyone from In Space other than the Red Ranger? Exactly. There are a few series that try to be more serious, but they only really managed to flush out one or two Rangers. Lightspeed Rescue after that flushed out the Pink Ranger and the Sixth Ranger, the Titanium Ranger. Time Force fleshed out the Red Ranger, the Quantum Ranger, and I think the Pink Ranger, but you rarely get a fully fleshed out team. Turtles has shown that there is a lot of room to do a more mature, fleshed out version and flesh out all of the characters and just be a better, well-rounded show than any incarnation of Power Rangers.
Because my idea for what I would like to see in the future for TMNT is that I would love to see a movie. Like, I would love to see if either Chris Nolan or Joss Whedon directed it, but I'd say that they are more better off maybe as a Netflix series. Like, you should get the guy that did the Daredevil series to do the Turtles.
Yeah.
Like, you can make it like either the original comic or the IDW comic, and...
I'm sorry, it has to be animated. After seeing their attempt at a live-action TV series...
Well, no. Here's the thing. You never saw any of the concept art, did you? No. There was concept art for how the Turtles were going to look in the movies that looked way better, looked much more accurate.
Yeah.
But, like, to go back to the Power Ranger thing really quickly, basically the way I look at it is this. With Turtles, the goofy, over-the-top incarnation is the rarity. You know, how many, other than the 87, how many Turtles incarnations has gone to that level of full-on goofy? You know, very rarely. This is the one that comes the closest.
Yeah.
Potentially
Since
the next
87.
one. The next one that come out might potentially rival it.
True. With Power Rangers, it's the opposite. The kind of mature, more explorative version is the outlier.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So another thing I would like to see done with the Turtles, not just a Netflix series, is maybe like another animated series. But what would make it really great is if they got Gendy Tortavinsky to do it. If he could do Samurai Jack, just imagine him doing a Ninja Turtle cartoon.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
Well, it's not like he's going to be working on that Popeye movie anytime soon.
We do not speak of it. We do not speak of that trash.
Hey, at least we got season 5 of Samurai Jack out of that.
Yeah.
At least we got season 5.
Also, video game wise, like since they're going to be DLC and Injustice, I would like to see NetherRealm Studios do a fighting game just based on the TMNT, or better yet, Rocksteady, the guys that do the Batman Arkham games, to do a TMNT video game.
That would be cool because
that would be cool, but at the same time, you're probably going to be playing only one turtle.
Yeah.
No, because they did a good job of the making all of the extra characters in Arkham City play differently.
Yeah.
So they could do all 4 different fight styles.
Yes, but when it comes down to storytelling, how do they branch off from one turtle to the next? And then you have to learn a completely new fighting set.
But they're all the same basic fighting style. they just vary kind of in their stats. Like, you know, in Arkham City, Batman is kind of the one you play as the most. And then if you play as Nightwing, Nightwing's big thing is just he's faster and more agile. He still has the same moves, but his stats are different. Same goes for Catwoman and Robin.
It would be nice if they made the game, but, I mean, it's like, throw it on the gigantic mountain of things people want them to make a game of. They only have so much time.
There are still people who want them to do Spider-Man.
Yeah, due to how well they made the Arkham games, it's a very, very ridiculously long list of, make a game of this, make a game of that.
Well, there's a difference, though. Like, people want a Superman...
Make a game of Godzilla.
Oh, yeah.
Well, like, people want them to
we
make
can
a
escape.
Superman game after the success of Batman, but Superman requires an entirely different engine, an entirely different style of game. You could transfer the Arkham style and engine and all of that into Turtles fairly easily and not have to change too much.
Plus, with Superman, his city would mostly look clean, right?
Yeah, and I think I heard Rocksteady might be doing a Superman game, or like also heard rumors of them doing either a Justice League or Suicide Squad game.
Oh yeah, there are plenty.
The enemies better be believably tough in a Superman game.
Oh yeah, like
also,
Doomsday, for example.
Also, they have to have an annoying villain that pops up every now and then, like Mr. Pixel.
Yep, it's Mitzaplet.
Okay, I guess.
Mitzjespiklet, I think is how you pronounce it.
I thought his name was Mr. Pixel, and then you had to get him to say his name backwards.
Yeah, but it's not Mr. Pixel. It's Mr. Mitzjespiklet.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, that guy.
All right, back on topic. So, you know, I guess we'll just have to wait and see how Ninja Turtles Go is.
Yeah, hopefully not Ninja Turtles Go, but we'll see.
Yeah, I would like to see another shot at a movie series. I think they could do it right if they got somebody good on it.
Yep.
Because that's one thing. You've proven that bright and colorful will fly, and you've proven that people can fall in love with a talking tree.
Yeah.
All right, so we pretty much done here? Anyone got any final words to say?
I'm glad it ended when it did. I think that fifth season where they were kind of just doing the random 3-part things that weren't connected to anything, it was kind of starting to waver at that point because nothing was really connected, and it felt much more like the 87 Turtles, and it was kind of I think it was a case of they knew it was ending, so they were just throwing out
interesting stories.
Interesting stories and fan love letters like the Usagi Yojimbo thing. But I do think based on where it was going, that it was a good time to end it. I'm glad it didn't outstay its welcome.
Yeah. It ended on a pretty high note, even though like the Mutant Apocalypse was supposed to be the final series. Like the production got mixed up. The Mutant Apocalypse episode was supposed to be the series finale, wasn't it? But they did
I told you over the phone that even
I know
if it
people
was true,
thought it was.
It would not really meld well with what Renette had told them.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That they are known as heroes in the future, and Renette is a human.
Yeah.
And in the Mutant Apocalypse, mutants are dead. I mean, no, not
humans
mutants.
are dead.
Humans are dead.
Yeah, I'm surprised we never got a cameo of April in that Mutant Apocalypse thing. We saw Casey's freaking skull.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Her cameo was her broken fan.
Yeah, but we never found out, like, it would have been interesting if she got mutated into something.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Karai technically should have survived that.
Yeah.
Because she was already a mutant.
So, anything else, you guys? Cowabunga!